Many men have reached out to me in their 40s that were diagnosed with prostate cancer, and most of them had no family history, nor did they have symptoms. So what do you say about PSA testing?
There are a number of different recommendations that are out there about when to start PSA testing, from the NCCN to the American Urological Association. There are some that will recommend not doing any screening PSA testing, and everybody has good intentions in making the recommendations that they have. I tend to be a believer in checking a PSA relatively earlier, say by the age of 45.
Okay.
As a way, just because most men aren't going to have a lot of BPH, the non-cancerous enlargement of the prostate at that point. That's a confounder, because PSA can be made not just by prostate cancer, but also by non-cancerous tissue in the prostate. You get a very large prostate with no cancer in it, that tends to have a higher level of PSA, so it can be harder to interpret the PSA. But in a younger guy, where most won't can have a big prostate at that point, prostate cancer may be the bigger driver. And there's a lot of evidence that a PSA relatively earlier, whether that be 40 or 45, is a pretty strong predictor years and years into the future about where you're going to be. That doesn't mean if you start at 40 or you start at 45, you have to get a PSA every year. If you get a PSA and you're at 42 and your PSA is 0.5, for example, you may just say, all right, I'm going to wait 3 or 4 years to check that again. Yeah. But what you want to avoid, so say a 45-year-old gets a PSA and it's 1.9 or 2.5 or something like that. I've seen that where the doctor may be busy and doesn't have time to recognize, like, hey, a 42-year-old shouldn't have a PSA of 2.8. We need to monitor this more carefully. And what we want to avoid is the guy who's 52 and shows up with metastatic prostate cancer, and you wonder, well, if he had his first PSA at 45, could we have recognized, hey, this PSA is higher than it'd be, and have some window to intervene? So I'm a believer in starting relatively earlier and then risk adjust. If it looks kind of high, follow it really carefully. If it's really normal, then you can wait longer intervals of time over time. So I think we probably do too much PSA testing in the elderly and not enough in younger men in 40s and 50s.